kasi naka-seal.
Yeah. So if it's here, it's gonna, if your ECU is here, the unit chip will just go on top here. That's pretty much it. And then if we're gonna retune naman, it's easy to take this out and then plug it into the laptop. And so basically this is where we will have the unit chip sticking out of the harness.
Tapping, you know?
Yeah, we're tapping the wires, yeah. Because the signals that we need pretty much for any car is we need an RPM signal, which is normally from the crankshaft. We get it from the crank sensor. We need mass airflow signal from this one. And then we need throttle position, this one. Oh, yan. Those are at least those three basic signals is needed pretty much any car. And we change the starting program of the unit chip inside depending on obviously what ECU we're dealing with, because all of them are different. This is a flapper sensor, yung mga iba hot wire, yung iba Carman, yung flapper na ganyan, pareho to sa mga lumang Celica eh. At saka Mazda, same flapper system. So Unichip has about 120 different starting programs that covers pretty much any ECU on the planet. And then mga iba, like Honda, wala niyan. They have a map sensor.
Yes.
So iba na naman yung starting program, which we have. As the Unichip dealer, we have access to all of that. And the wiring diagram for this particular car.
Tama nga pala, I've seen in the YouTube that there are Unichip din na installation na pwede silang control through their cell phone.
Yeah.
Ano yung ginagamit nila?
There's an extra Bluetooth module that you buy for 4,900. Then it gives you 5 different maps. For all intents and purposes, bullshit. Because first map is stock. Second map is power, and third map is a little bit more power. Eh kaya nga naglagay niya kasi gusto mo malakas lagi. Then fourth map, normally what they do is valet mode, meaning it doesn't go beyond 2,000. And 5 is anti-theft, so disabled. The problem with that is if you leave it at anti-theft, kasi may nangyari na ganun eh. We installed that, guy went out happy, called me at hating gabi yata eh. Ayaw gumana kotse ko, ganyan. Nagmumura, ganun. Teka, di ba meron kang map switch? Ay, o nga no. Sige, bye-bye. Diba? Yun yung problema. User error. He left it in... I guess, obviously, when you park the car, you want it in the anti-theft mode. Pag nag-inuman ka, kinalimutan mo na yun, bumalik ka, naka-anti-theft pa rin. Ayaw na kumandar. May nangyari, may nasira. So that's why we don't really sell that anymore. We still have it now. But once I explain it to you like that, like, tanga na, sige, wag na nga. It's more bells and whistles than anything.
Pero basically, from the literature, pwede mo siyang ibalik sa normal niya. Ano yun? How do you, yung walang Q-chip na setting?
Yes, you can unplug the Unichip, then we give you a thing called a bypass plug. So it's easier to explain inside. Mas masarap may aircon din. So what we need from Unichip is a crank signal. We need throttle position signal, and then fuel signal. Obviously power and ground. TPS, this is usually tapped. Tap meaning if this is the original ECU wire, yan, nakatap lang siyang ganyan. Crank signal and fuel signal is splice. Meaning original wire, putol, goes into the Unichip, goes out. Fuel is the same thing. So Unichip goes out like that. Because signal goes in there, gets modified, then gets thrown out again. So this one controls pretty much ignition timing. Fuel obviously controls your mass airflow sensor. So the bypass plug that we give you, basically, if this is the Unichip plug, then there's a bunch of wires here. Some of them are tapped. Yung bypass plug, ganun itsura niyan. Magkaasawa yan na walang Unichip. So yung mga tinap na wire, gina-jumper lang niya. Then it goes back to stock. yun.
Pero bubuksan mo pa rin yun.
Bubuksan mo pa rin yung ano mo, yung plastic mo. Oo. Oh, kasi yung issue mo nandun eh. Unlike other Japanese cars, the Unichip is exposed inside the engine bay. Then the harness is there. So all you have to do is remove the Unichip, plug it there. Then pulupot that sucker somewhere. Oo. Yun na yun.
Actually, wala naman akong concern with service na ma-check nila yan or tandaan yan. So,
Yeah.
ang sa akin lang, just in case there's something wrong.
Yeah, that's a way to troubleshoot na to make sure that it's not the Unichip's fault. Ganyan lang yun.
Then, regarding sa torque, usually nasaan ang setting ng maximum torque or is it possible to have it like a band ng RPM na may torque ka and then usually saan nagkikick in yung horsepower?
Okay, this is power. Power graph is normally like this, so it's pretty much a straight line. Torque graph is like this. This point is almost always 4,000 RPM in any gasoline car. So, yung torque will depend on what the car it is, but when we tune it on a per RPM level naman eh. So, at 1.5 RPM, totono na yan. How much torque we get from that will depend on other modifications. Sometimes it's like, the most obvious is it will just mirror whatever torque that you have, tapos yung increase is pretty constant. But some cars, we surprised, we get ganyan. Minsan naman, may ibang kotse, pag lalo na ito, Honda. Malakas sa ilalim, malakas sa baba, supot sa dulo. Oh, yan, Honda. Ito, Honda.
Pero yun ang question eh, how do you parang control it? Kasi syempre, if you wanted to push for maximum speed mo, let's say, actually ito, napatakbo siya ng mga around 195 to 200.
Well, then you'll still get to 200, yeah.
Oo. Kaya lang, parang nararamdaman ko, somewhere in yung torque niya is somewhere mga 3,000 to 4,000.
Max torque, this one.
And then pagdating doon, nagkakinta ka na. Pag bumaba siya gano'n, parang nahihirapan na siyang
umakyat ulit. Well, gearing na yun. But torque is torque. At what RPM? Yun lang. Bumaba siya at what RPM ka na?
Actually, pagka
Hindi,
speed ako nasa...
yung kinta mo.
Nasa 3. Nasa 3,000.
3 pa lang. Tapos hirap na.
Oo.
Kasi kung peak torque mo nga is at 4,000, kung 3, dito ka pa lang. Hirap nga. Pero when you shift that red line at 6,000 RPM, where does it go down to?
Ayan, mga nasa 4 siya.
Dapat ganun. You have to rev it to, bago ko magkinta, mag-rev ka muna ng 6,000 ng 4th gear, para pag cambio mo ng 6,000, baksak siya dito, where you're still at maximum torque. Dapat ganun.
Pero ibig sabihin ba, pagdating mo dito, wala nang torque yan?
Hindi, may torque pa rin. Mas mababa lang. Kasi this entire thing is your torque. But everybody just looks at this line. No, everybody just looks at this point. That's the problem. Like the guy with the accent a while ago. Ang nangyari kasi sa kanya.
Pero kung diesel, pwede siyang maging constant na torque, di ba?
No, the diesel torque is different. Ganun. His stock power graph looks like that. Then when we tuned it, looks like that. It's a bit exaggerated.
From the low,
Ganyan.
sa low RPM, dire-diretso siya.
Yung torque na ganun. So this is tuned. So nagreklamo niya kasi yung stock niya parang 140 eh. Then after we tune it, it's 144. So ang interpretation niya, I gained only 4 horses. I go, no, you actually got 90 horsepower here. I explained to him, horsepower always has to have at RPM. Yun, ito hindi niya intindihan to. Hindi niya naintindihan mga friends na to. So this 90 horsepower just happens to be at 2,000 RPM. Not at peak.
Maganda na yan.
Yun nga, everybody's focused on here. And yung torque niya, this one was 325, then we ended up at 450. At 2,000 RPM. Malakas sumibat.
Malakas yan.
So,
Actually, pagka nagda-drive ka naman, may buwelo ka na eh. If you have this, you already have buwelo. Para pagdating mo rito, easy na talaga. Magaan na para the engine.
So lumabas sa kanya, malakas sumibat, mid-range, minimal gain, tapos may konting-konting dulo because the graph went about like that eh. Pero yun nga, ang importante sa kanila, ito. Tapos yung torque naman, kita naman niya. Oo.
Mas gusto ko pa nga yung ganito, yung diretso yung torque
Oo.
na consistent
Yep.
na mataas,
Yep.
di ba? Is it capable ba sa gasoline? Hindi.
No, impossible. By design, only diesels can do that. Where your power graph is basically once it's full throttle, it's basically flat, then just falls down like that. This is pretty.
RPM, no?
This is RP. This is
Parang nasa 5,000 RPM yan.
4 for diesels.
Or
4,000 is 2,000. Only diesels can have this kind of graph na mataas dito tapos pabaksak na ganun. Impossible for gasoline cars.
Speed limiter, do you also control?
This one, wala atang speed limit to eh. Parang wala eh.
Meron.
Meron ba?
Hindi, yung RPM niya.
Hindi, baka what you're experiencing is an actual physical limit. Meaning aerodynamic limit.
No. I mean, kasi di ba, pag nag-red line ka, hanggang doon lang siya. Pwede bang taas?
Oh, yun na yun. Tataas yung red line for this one. Hindi yata pwede. Ganun. Let's see. Maya. Lagay natin si dyno, then we'll rev it all the way up to, ano ba yung gauge niyan? 220? What's the maximum number here?
Ano siya? Oh, 220.
Tignan natin mamaya. If it'll rev all the way up to 220 kph, ibig sabihin nun, walang speed limit yung, well, this is your limit of the car. Kung ano yung sagad ng gauge.
Siya dito eh. Ewan ko, hindi ko pa nasusubukan.
So we'll try that later. If it can reach this one on the dyno, that means na say kung 200 ka na, 200 ayaw na tumulin. Ibig sabihin, aerodynamic drag, you don't have enough power to overcome it anymore to reach this. Kasi ito, when we're doing the dyno, walang drag to eh.
Walang drag.
So we'll test it later. Kung meron ba talaga o hindi. Tapos pag sumagat ng ganyan, yung needle, tapos maingay pa rin yung makina, ibig sabihin, tumutulin pa. Hindi lang natin alam gaano katulin. That's one way to test.
Alright. Pero yung RPM niya, hindi na...
Yung 6,000,
6,500 yata siya.
walang saysay itaas yan. That only works for Hondas.
Ganon.
And modified
Kasi yung...
B-series Hondas and K-series. Ito yung nakakainis. Everybody keeps thinking na if you raise the red line, your car will get more powerful. No. It only works for this. They always fail to see the context of what they're reading. Kasi mag-type ka na, raise RPM in Google. Ito lahat makikita mo eh. Puro Honda lahat eh. Wala naman nagre-raise ng RPM sa Chevrolet Corvette na V8 eh. Wala naman ganun eh.
Kasi sila malalakas na talaga.
Hindi. At saka hindi ganun yun eh. Just raising the RPM alone does not mean you're gonna have more power. The same way that, yun nga, yung lintik na 4.1 versus 4.2.1 ahead na debate, almost all of the articles and everything you read on Google will also pertain to Honda. It's almost always a Honda forum kung nag-aaway sila dito. And they take it to mean that this works for every single car out there.
Yung exhaust.
Yung exhaust, 4.2 header, They always forget the context on where they're reading it. Basta ito lang binabasa nila.
Actually, meron pa nga dito sinasabi, equal legs daw dapat yung...
Ayun naman, sa Subaru yan. Ayan na naman, isa na naman yan.
Kaya nga nagkakaroon ng 4-to-1 eh.
Sa Subaru kasi, the engine configuration is like this. So it's a boxer. Then there's a turbo here. So your exhaust header, naturally, one side will be shorter than the other side. Yun. Kaya ito yung unequal length na sinasabi. Kaya...
ginagawa nila, pinuputol nila to, nilalagyan nila ng pangalawang turbo.
Once upon a time, actually, Subaru did a twin turbo setup na like that. But they abandoned it because obviously, number one, more expensive for not much more power. Twice as complicated, so forget it. I think this only appeared in a Japanese spec legacy, so walang saysay yan. What they don't know, what the bata and the kids don't know, that Subarus nowadays, even stock, yung STI comes already with equal length. From the factory.
Tapos twin scroll siya, di ba?
Once upon a time lang yung twin scroll. Ngayon wala na rin. It's only some JDM spec na 04 to 07 I think yung twin scroll.
So tinigil nila.
Tinigil nila kasi nga more complicated for not much more no benefit. And this is specific for the SCI. For the WRX naman, your turbo is now under the car. Nandito. So your header is here. So it's really equal. There's no other way to do it.
Ang inaano na lang nila is make it bigger, no?
The turbo? There is an upgraded turbo for the WRX. Yes, you can buy it, but the problem is your car needs to be a manual. Pag automatic, maglolo ko yung automatic. Well naman maglolo ko, you will have overheating issues for the transmission. A light will come out and say, transmission overheat, please slow down. If you have too much power. So for the Subarus, the automatic ones, we know that the daily drivable, walang sakit ulo limit is 250 wheel horsepower. Yan lang yun. You can go maybe 260, sige, fine. But there are some kasi who reach the 300 wheel horsepower mark. Ayan, dito na naglalabasan ng mga problema.
What's the difference between brake horsepower and wheel horsepower?
Yun.